Hi, and welcome back to Thone's Nibbles number 169, covering part of Ephesians chapter 1. It's about our redemption. The actual reading is from Ephesians 1, verses 7 through 12. In him we have redemption through his blood, the forgiveness of sins, according to the riches of his grace, which he made to abound toward us in all wisdom and prudence, having made known to us the mystery of his will, according to his good pleasure, which he purposed in himself, that in the dispensation of the fullness of the times he might gather together in one all things in Christ, both which are in heaven and which are on earth. In him also we have obtained an inheritance, being predestined according to the purpose of him who works all things according to the counsel of his will, that we who first trusted Christ should be to the praise of his glory. I guess I better preface all this by the use of predestined in one of the sentences here. This is not the classic Calvinistic predestination we're talking about, which means that God decided, decided who goes to heaven and so on. No, it's not that kind of thing, and I don't think even an ardent Calvinist would argue that it is in this particular case. It's talking about that he purposed to die on the cross to give us the opportunity to be saved, and that in that sense he predestined the possibility of our salvation, not that he chose you, and you, and not you, and you, and you. Okay. With that said, we're on fairly safe ground. The praise of his glory. Why is this in the Bible? Our redemption is from God's plan, and it's sort of emphasizing that now. That God made a plan, that understanding that men were going to be not good for most all of eternity past, he came up with a plan which meant the temporary sacrifice of his only son to redeem us. And therefore, this connects together. God's plan God's plan of redemption is one of the steps of God's plan, right? It's to all believers. And the communication is the mystery of his will, which I kind of like. What's the application to my life? We must always keep in our mind the gifts of God. His redemption, his salvation, his forgiveness, his will toward our understanding, and our inheritance from him. And all of those things are all sort of mixed up in this mysterious gift he gave us and his grace. And so, we have to just think that it isn't, we normally think of the gift of salvation, and of course that is sort of the number one impactful thing to us, but we're talking about his redemption, his salvation, his forgiveness, his desire that we understand, and the inheritance which he is giving us. All of those are important. What did God tell me about all this? Let all be as his will is for our service to him. And that's kind of a funny word. That sounds like a word a sentence that Paul might put together. But the idea is He wants us all to be in His will, which is that we be in service to Him. It's sort of a this, then this, therefore this kind of sentence, and so let all be, and that is all people have this attitude, as His will is. The attitude comes from His will for our service to Him. So we first have to all sort of be resolved to be, and then we next have His will for our service, and then we actually have our service to Him. And it's a beautiful idea. My personal response: Lord, keep us focused on the truth of your predisposition towards all who believe in you. Predisposition. That means He has predisposed Himself, that He has planned and promised that we all have the opportunity to be redeemed, to have salvation, to get His forgiveness, and so on. All He asks in return is that we believe. And we show that belief by saying, yes, I accept your gift, Lord. So that completes Ephesians 1 and this particular nibble, and we'll see you next time.